Day 215, I believe, of a screenwriter's journey. Um, Pretty sure it's day 215. Let's see what's going on here. I guess this is about right. Sorry, I'm just trying to get reoriented here. I feel like I may be a little out of order, but in the grand scheme of things, it probably doesn't matter because you're probably not watching this unless I'm rich and famous. Tell me what those weren't guns. So we're still at the still in the door. I just going over and over the same part. It feels like because I just talked about this the other day where Abby runs in and says they need a ride, and then they end up getting a ride with that couple. And so we've had the shootout at the other place with Ace and Clyde and Hogan, and then Holly comes. But again, can you really have a shootout at the end of Act 2, the beginning of Act 3, which is kind of where this is? I don't understand why I'm rewriting this. But the date, March 5th, leads me to believe that I do have it in the right order. From our friends. I assume they came from our... Thank goodness I got rid of that line. There's one thing we can agree on. You fire one. I counted 4. You fire one shot as a warning. Why the other 3? This is just so far into the weeds. It's funny because it's not funny. I read some scripts today in real life, which is May 21st, that some people had sent to me after I didn't really solicit them on this screenwriting Facebook page. And I read those and did a bunch of comments, kind of the same thing. Except I wasn't commenting on my own stuff. So I hope I wasn't too hard, but I think I'm sufficiently hard on myself. In retrospect, obviously this is a whole different thing because I'm working through it. I don't have a script that I consider ready to send out yet. Having said that, well, I don't want to give that away. This is just not working at all. I wish I would see this in speed ahead to the days of the Epiphany, but I honestly, this is early March when I'm writing this. I don't know. I'm not saying I had an epiphany, but if I was to have one, it would certainly, I hope it comes soon. I don't know how far I'm going to get into this. I feel like I'm going down a black hole. And as I've said before, the very fact that I'm doing voiceover on this either shows that I'm committed to carrying through with this and doing it, or that I don't know. I don't know what. I'm conceited, and I think that someone actually is going to get some value from this. That wouldn't really be conceited. Maybe this is going to end up getting 10,000 views or something like that. Doesn't seem likely. It was funny because when I first started writing this, I had those illusions that it was just going to I thought I'd be done with this script, frankly, in 60 days of writing. That was sort of a dream. I think it probably literally was a dream. That people would start watching and they would go, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I'm watching this guy write this incredible screenplay and learn lessons the hard way. Anyways, let's get back to it's just hard to comment on this when A, I don't really like it, and B, I know that it's changing, which is different obviously than commenting on scripts that are finished, and it's not like you're going to make changes to them. You can make suggestions, but this is a whole different beast. So I guess I'm rewriting this. I'm not sure why. I don't seem to be doing much differently. Well, maybe I did. I can't go back because that's my rule, and I've got Jake spelled wrong. But I guess before I did have Jake and I had that fake thing where Jake was like kind of accosting or assaulting or whatever Lexi, and then Rachel breaks in. And I at least got rid of that, I think. At least I'm cutting parts. Let me see if I cut all this stuff about what Lexi and Jake, this like play acting that they're doing. I think I mentioned before, it's interesting that Resolve, the screen goes to sleep after like 2 minutes if I don't move the mouse around, which is kind of a pain. I'll explain later. Glances down at Jake as Jake's, reeling backwards. I mean, did he fall? That's kind of stupid. Unless it hit him. Hit him in the head. Looks down to the back, confused. Back like their gaze is does the same. Let's see what's going to happen. Thank goodness I'm changing this. Their gaze rise. Their gaze rise. Their gazes. Up. Clearly confused. Rachel clearly confused. When we came, okay. So now I think the thought is that they're going to try to catch Rachel in a logic or logistics, whatever trap, because they've never asked this question. And it could be one the audience is asking, although maybe not if they think that Rachel is a bad person and working with Clyde and Ace or hired them or whatever. So Lexi asks her that question. Rachel answers the question with a question because she clearly doesn't want to answer it. She's making it look like somehow she got away from the two, grabbed their key fob, and is now here to save the day and rescue at least Lexi at the very least. It's that 10 o'clock at night rule, but it's not even 10, and I just yawned. I don't know if you heard that. We need to go before they go where. So, see, this is another problem I ran into. Where is Rachel feigning? Because we know she's going to take Lexi to the airport to give her over to her father and then cash in. But what would Rachel answer? How would Rachel answer that question of go where? And then I still do bring up this thing where Lexi and Jake are sort of at odds and trying to fool her, trying to kind of throw her off her game. And so by asking, where are you taking her? Or we need to go where? I mean, what's Rachel going to tell Lexi? That's a problem, a slight problem I ran into. We're just going to drive like Thelma and Louise, and maybe we'll go off a cliff or something. And so this is sort of a confrontation thing, but I don't think it really works here. What do you need to hear? Rachel's getting desperate. I don't think her character would get desperate this quick. I think she would probably try to stay on the offensive. So, I mean, this is just lame. Because they're obviously not, I don't know, get in the car and drive. She's sounding kind of faux desperate, which maybe she would just to get her out of there. But then it makes it sound as if she isn't in control of the situation anymore, which she isn't. But is that really what should happen. That's kind of the question. What do you want to say to her? Okay, so this is kind of the same. Lexi's turning the tables on her. I mean, how would Rachel react to that? She would get mad at Jake. Would she still pull out a gun and shoot him? I'm pretty sure one of us is. That is a good line. Are you insane? I'm pretty sure one of us is. I mean, in a different context, that could definitely work. I'm sure that's not an original line, but it fits pretty well there. But the fact that, it's ironic. She says, "Are you insane? I'm pretty sure one of us is." And then she pulls out the gun, proving pretty much that she is. So it's kind of the cleverness of me there. How many of the shots we heard did you fire? Now that Lexi sees the gun, she's wondering if Rachel has been doing a little shooting of her own, or maybe, she's suddenly thinking, oh my gosh, did she kill or shoot Clyde and Ace? And now is she really the lunatic that we're making her out to be, or, the narcissistic psychopath? Excuse me. So now Rachel is backtracking to answering the question of why wasn't she in there when they woke up. Your father was worried I might change your mind about going with him. Excuse me. And I mean, it's so funny. I ask all these questions like I'm not the one who wrote all this stuff. That's what's really crazy about it. Because, I mean, it was your father's idea. How would Rachel know that? Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm just looking at the name. Maybe I was just looking at the name of the father or something. I don't know why I went back to page 3. Oh, our next adventure. Like the one you told me on a 6 the night before Han and the others took me, just like you planned. Yeah, I mean, I see what I'm doing, and I might try that again in a little different context, the whole adventure thing. Because it's always good to have those callbacks and kind of those payoffs of either dialogue or action. I guess you could call them bookends also. And it's interesting, and I don't know if I've talked about this before, the idea, in math, when you have parentheses and you have to have matching parentheses, you can sort of do the same thing, I think. I'm sure I didn't come up with this. I'm sure I read it or something, where if you have, you set something up on page 2, you can't really pay it off on page 3. I mean, you can. I'm just thinking in terms of parentheses. You can either have left and right parentheses where you set something up, you pay it off. You set something up, you pay it off. You set something up, you pay it off. So just picture like open and close parentheses on page 1 to 4, on page 5 to 9, whatever. So you can have setup, payoff, setup, payoff, setup, payoff. Or, again, like nesting parentheses, you can set something up with an open parentheses on page 2 or 3 or whatever. You can set something else up 2 or 3 or 4 pages later. You can set something else up. So you're opening all these parentheses. And then when you pay them off, my theory, and again, I don't know if I came up with this or I got this from someone and I'm just presenting it as my own. When you pay them off, you have to pay off the most recent one and then you close that parentheses. So if you've set up 3 things, you're 3 parentheses deep. So you have to pay that one off first, the third one, and then you can pay off the second one, and then you pay off the third one. I'll go on more into this theory tomorrow because today is over. See ya.